we're going to jump right into it, because if you're going to start with college basketball, we're not going alphabetically. We just going to hit you with the two letters that matter. UT. Say it with your chest.
Texas fight.
That's it. That's it, sir. Yeah. So we're going to bring on Chris Ogden, assistant coach over with the men's team. And I'm really excited. I want y'all to turn up, and we're going to have a great little conversation here. Coach, are you there?
I'm here. How are you guys?
We got him.
Great. Coach, before we get started, I got to know. Coach, I saw that you're from Seminole, Texas. Coach, you made that up, didn't you?
No, I'm from Seminole, Texas, a little small town out in the lower Panhandle, West Texas, in between Lubbock and Midland.
Wow.
Seminole has a really great women's basketball program out there in high school.
Did not know that.
Yeah, I covered them when I was in Midland, Odessa, and they went to the playoffs and semifinals every single year. It was crazy.
Well, now that he brought it up, Coach, when you were growing up there, what were they known for? Was it football? Was it basketball? What were you guys known for?
Basketball. I mean, we certainly, small town West Texas, you certainly have the Friday night lights and football, but we were what I would consider a basketball school, no doubt.
Wow. Okay, I'm floored. Did not know that. Coach, did you play basketball at that time? And what was your position? What'd you do?
I did. I played all 4 years. In high school, on the varsity, I played all positions.
Coach has a handle.
I know.
And then was lucky enough to come here and play here. So I've had a pretty fun long basketball career.
Very cool. So.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, Coach, when you talked about your time at UT, what was kind of the most memorable time do you feel like in your career playing at UT?
Final Four. Let's go Final Four. I mean, that's the ultimate dream. I mean, obviously, we'd have loved to cut down the nets for the championship, but just experiencing the Final Four, you can't replace that.
Coach, I'm always kind of curious, when you have maybe a little time with the players, you see other players from your time, do you ever give a little nudge and say our team is the best? Does that go on? Do you like to nudge people and talk about your team? And so I'd like to know that. And then what would you say was the greatest UT team of all time?
Well, our team, we went to the Final Four.
There it
is. We can stand on our record and stand on our success. So there's really no debate at this point.
I like it, Coach. What do the young guys say? I'm sure you nudge them every now and then. How do they take that?
Well, they got to take it. They had to get the Final Four.
I love it. This is.
There's really no debate at this point. We were in the national semifinal, and the furthest anybody else has been since there is the Elite Eight.
Yes, sir.
Including last year. But we were in a couple of Elite Eights after the Final Four. But, I mean, until someone advances further than us, there is no.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Coach, but you were one of the team captains, right, on that squad?
That's right. I was team captain. It was my senior year.
Yeah.
I was not the best player. TJ Ford was. I was not a starter. And I was not even what you would consider a top-line rotational player, but I was captain, and we had a really good team of young talent, older veterans, and so I tried to provide some wisdom along the way.
Coach, as the captain, I know there was a lot of pressure on you. When we're running suicides, do you have to dive through the finish line? Did you have to give the team speeches? Like what were your duties, tasks, and pressures as the captain, especially with TJ Ford on the team? Sheesh.
Well, yes to all that. You got to earn it. There's no doubt. I mean, it gets the respect, and you got to earn the respect of your teammates and peers and coaches and whatnot, because team captain is voted on in most cases voted on by the team. And so, look, I think my experience, me being a senior at that time, we had been to 3 other NCAA tournaments. We'd been to Sweet 16 the year before.
Yeah.
I've always been a student of the game, and basketball's always been a passion of mine. So I think you had to earn your voice, but at the end of the day, they respected my basketball IQ, and I didn't say a lot, but when I said things, it hopefully meant something.
And I could tell, Coach, just being around a program, that just seeing all the former players coming back and supporting this year's team and even last year's team for how far y'all went to the Elite Eight, just seeing TJ Ford, your old teammate, sitting courtside every game. What does that mean to you to know that you have someone like that supporting every time y'all are in the Moody Center?
Well, it's awesome. I mean, it's awesome to have any of our former players back. We'll have a few back, including TJ in tomorrow's game, and Coach Penders, who was a legendary coach here and a part of the history. I think when you look at Texas basketball, there is a rich history of players
Yes.
individually, whether it be lottery picks and pros and just great players, coaches, and teams. But I don't think it's been totally tied together, and the story hasn't been told properly yet of how strong it is. And so it's always good to get former players back. Get former players back and have them and their families be a part of what they helped build.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know you've been building your own career throughout this time, and now you're the general manager of the Texas Longhorns. What does this new role kind of ensue for you, and what are the things that you have new responsibilities for?
Well, it's the ever reshaping of college athletics is happening, and on a national scale, football, realignment, all these things, and basketball is included. You have new variables in play, which is NIL. You have different variables in play, which is the shifting of the transfer portal and how that works, and so it's just and football's been ahead of the curve for a while. Saban and Urban Meyer and the way they built their staffs, and I think that there's becoming more and more a need for a front office, more to the way professional teams are ran. So that was the vision in doing it. We're building that from scratch. A lot of what I do is centered around NIL, our strategy around NIL, and then transfer portal evaluations, getting ahead of the curve there. Roster configuration, meeting with the coaches, and just different things like that. There are some administrational things, operational things that I didn't necessarily sign up for, but come with the job, and so it's just kind of a lot of different things.
Coach, for our listeners, and we're streaming internationally here, what is the draw? How do we get these top level players interested in UT? Just kind of curious, what would you say is the reason that people say, oh, I want to go and I want to play there? Because we've mentioned some names, we know some names that have come through this basketball program. I'm not from Texas, so I am curious, what is the draw?
Well, it just starts with the magnitude of the brand itself. The Texas Longhorn brand is recognizable across the world. Starts there. Then you have the education reputation behind that with the University of Texas. Then you have the city of Austin, and this is all before you even really dive into the sport itself.
Yeah.
And so in basketball, I mean, obviously Kevin Durant is the most popular former player, but then you go down from there, and Tristan Thompson and Daniel Gibson and DJ Augustine. And at one time, we had 14 guys playing in the NBA at one time, and still have 6 or 7. So there's just a long history of really good individual players. But then you even go a step further, and what we sell, and really it sells itself, is not only are you coming here to be around elite basketball players, but oh, by the way, when you're eating over there in our training table, you're going to be sitting next to Olympians, swimmers, and track stars, and tennis players, and I mean these are all world competitors, golfers, and football players, and so you're held to a standard that's hard to find anywhere else.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, and I was just going to ask also, Coach, with the way that your careers went, of course, being an assistant coach earlier with Rick Barnes, I believe, and then moving over to my alma mater, UT Arlington, a head coach for a little bit over there. What was your time at UTA like, and what did you learn in that short stint with the Mavericks to then
loved my time in Arlington. I think it's a really underrated place right there in the middle of Dallas-Fort Worth, and the people there are great. I loved being at UT Arlington. I think it's got a bright future. They're now in the WAC, which I think is a great conference to be a part of. And I loved being a head coach. I loved the experience it gave me. I loved being at a place that has a lot of upside. And I learned I learned some things that you don't know until you're in that seat. Mm-hmm. Whether it's managing people older than you, whether it's managing just a whole organization. Mm-hmm. And your hands are on everything, and just kind of shifting your time. Your time is different than it was as an assistant coach, but your decisions are greater. And so those are some of the things I learned.
And y'all were able to get someone from UTA, Kendall Weaver. He's been balling out lately. So what was that like? And going back to Arlington, were you a part of his recruitment at all?
You know what? I wasn't. He came in the year after I left.
But recruitment to UT.
Yeah, but a lot of familiarity with him. Know his coaches, know his family, know his AAU coaches. Obviously my staff took over there, so knew them very well. So there was a lot of familiarity with Kendall and his abilities. So and we're glad to have him. He is a tough competitor.
Yeah, man, I've been watching him on the court, dude. I mean, defensively, dog.
Oh, yeah.
Dog, man.
Coach, this is where I got to get a little controversial. I know you're from Texas, and when I look down the roster, I see a lot of guys are from Texas, but then you get like Dylan Mitchell, and he went to Montverde, and they are just killing it right now. I think they're number one in the nation right now, and their women's program is just through the roof. Hey, Coach, where is the greatest recruiting hotbed right now, in your opinion? Where are those basketball players coming
Texas.
from? Coach, I was trying to be controversial.
Well, I mean, it will be to some. Look, I mean, it's hard to. I mean, again, I'm biased. I'm from Texas.
Well,
grew up in the Texas grassroots system.
Yeah.
But if you look at the recent history of Texas players, not just at Texas, but Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
What's the old boy over at with the Orlando Magic, Julius Randle. Yeah. I mean, there's so many NBA guys that are from Texas, Case and Wallace, and you keep on going down the road. It's Anthony Black and Jordan Walsh, and all these guys are first-round draft picks. I mean, this is
lottery picks.
Yeah, I mean, this is, you got Trey Johnson coming. So these are all lottery picks that have come in the last 4, 5, 6 years. So Texas is certainly a hotbed. The DFW area and Houston area obviously are loaded.
Yeah.
But then the Austin, San Antonio, Killeen area is certainly put out its fair share. Jared Allen and others. So.
And you brought up a name that I wanted to talk to you about was Trey Johnson. Bringing a kid like that over from Dallas. And so, what is his talent? What makes his talent so special? And what do you hope that he brings to the program when he does reach to the 40 acres?
Well, his talent is just that. It's talent. Some of it, you can't teach. So either he's developed it over a course of time, or was born with it. Probably a combination. But his size at 6'4" and a guard, and his shot making ability. I mean, his ball goes in the basket, and it's in a lot of different ways, and so he's just a real talent. And our expectation here is that he does what many talented elite freshmen have done in the past and have a very successful time here on campus. And we got to make sure we surround him with the right players around him to do that.
And, with your new role, correct me if I'm wrong, but does that also seep into the keeping a player on campus or keeping a player signed? Because, the situation like Ron Holland last year, and he was signed the whole year and then eventually goes to the G League. Is that also what your title kind of correlates into as well, to keep guys signed, or no?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's a new world in basketball. We're not only competing against other schools, we're competing against the G League. We're competing against the Australian NBL. We're competing against overtime basketball league. So it's all in play now, which is the reason for a position like mine, and big part of the reason. And so we, no doubt that trying to win over kids from taking the G League offer or whatever it may be, it's very important for us.
For our listeners, I want to just bring you up to speed. If you joined late, we're talking with Chris Ogden, General Manager, UT Basketball. He was tabbed the state of Texas's Mr. Basketball in his senior year, 98-99. But let's talk about those stats. Corey, he averaged 17 points, 10 rebounds, and I'm rounding down. Coach was like, man, round up. But 17 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists per game,
chill out,
leading his team to a 36-4 record and a runner-up finish in the Class 3A state tournament. We're talking to the Texas Jokic.
Well, he did say he played every position.
So. God, Coach, you to be exact, it was 8.5 dimes. Coach, dimes, you was dropping 8.5 assists per game. Coach, can we talk about that state championship then? What happened in that championship game? Looking back at it, especially from a coach perspective, what were your thoughts? Did you need a couple extra minutes? I would love to know about that.
Well, we got beaten overtime.
Oh my gosh!
Versus Mahia, and they had a couple players that were really good. Ricky Huckabee and another kid, and I was here in Austin in the Irwin Center. That's when the state basketball tournament started. So everybody in Texas, his goal was to try to make it to Austin. And we had I guess my one regret from the game is we had a possession, last possession of regulation, and I had the ball, and I made the right basketball play. I found the open guy with a probably a better shot, but he missed it. I would have been a little bit more selfish there in taking the shot.
The whole LeBron.
I say the people
dilemma.
give LeBron about that.
You made the right play, Coach.
And I get it, and that's why I sympathize with LeBron and Jokic and these guys. I mean, they're purists. When you enjoy passing the basketball and making the right play, you're a basketball purist, and you really, even in the most insane situation, high pressure moment, that's your instinct. And so whereas you take a guy like Kobe and Jordan, they're only going to pass it if they have to. Yeah. In those situations, but that's just their mentality. Yeah. Right. And so so I do, I sympathize with LeBron on these things, because I do consider myself a basketball purist, and I make the right play guy, and cost me a championship.
Salty about it.
I mean, you just woke up. You was just a walking triple double, Coach. To get those numbers, and I'm sorry if I got to take you all the way back to 98, 99, but Coach, could you tell me the best game? Like, did you have a 30, 20, 15 game, or what was your best? I'm gonna go statistic. Maybe there's a game where you hit a game winner and like dominated, but best statistical game that you could remember. I mean, I would love to know.
Yeah, I did pride myself on the triple doubles, so I had a lot that year. I mean, I had 20-something triple doubles, and I can't remember particularly, but yeah, there were some games where I had a 30, 18, and 15 game.
Good grief!
Crazy!
You gotta be kidding me! Yeah, that was.
And so, do you still ever let the boys know you still got it a little bit at practice, or do you get out there at all, or no?
With our players, not really. Slowed down a little too much, and it really hurts. With my own son, who is a player and a prospect, sophomore in high school, I do wisely pick the times when I know I can beat him. Yeah.
So, Coach, I work over at UT. I could send you an email. We got a faculty staff game that we do a couple times a week. We're
love that.
Yeah, we're all your age.
I'd love that. Yeah.
Okay, I'll send you that invite. So, Coach, I was curious then. What's your go-to move?
Well, I'm not just gonna sit here and just let y'all get the dub like that. That's crazy
that-
how you just recruited the best player on campus at the time.
It's just randomly picked up. It's random.
I am out of shape. I am overweight. No, it's
we all are.
You still got the height though.
Yeah, he does. You
Still
can't
got the
coach
height,
height. You
though.
can't coach height.
Look, I can back you down. So my signature move, I will back you down. I can still pass. And it's a little fadeaway off. I got a
little bag. You got a little bag.
A poor man's Jokic.
The Texas, we'll take it.
The Texas Jokic.
Yeah. We won't call it the poor man. We'll say no state taxes Jokic.
Yeah.
Make it Texas. Coach, when I know you're maybe not the person that's in every living room recruiting, but
Right.
if there is an opportunity to drop a little nugget when I'm that prospect and I'm with that mom and that dad and I'm like, I want to go. Is it something that you can do can you sell the coach? Because Coach Terry seems like he is, I hope this isn't offensive, a player's coach. Mm-hmm. He seems like a very personable guy. Is that something that you guys think that you can sell and use or not? Is that not something that's done?
Yeah, no question. I mean, I've known Coach Terry for a long time. Coach Terry helped get into this business.
Oh,
and he's been a great mentor and help to me and others. And the thing I'll say about Coach Terry starting off is he's just a genuinely good person. And so then that gets down to relationships with his players. A players coach versus non-players coach. I mean, look, that's up for debate on every coach out there. But yeah, he certainly has a really good relationships with the players. They relate to him, but he also has the ability to coach them. And when I say coach them, hold them accountable. Mm-hmm. And so I think he the fact that he's a good person just kind of is who he is as a coach as well.
So for those who don't know, we have an upcoming game here, January 6th, Saturday versus Texas Tech.
That's gonna be a good
If you
one.
haven't been to a game, this is the game to go to. You're going to get loud, and if you're not there, you're going to have to explain to us when you get back to work why you didn't get to this game.
Yeah, the conference opener.
I mean,
Big 12 conference opener. It's going to be a big
That's
game.
right.
7 p.m. Saturday, big game, Texas Tech, good team. And it's important that we get off to a good start. And when you're talking about the Big 12 and fighting to win the league, and when you're talking about the NCAA tournament and fighting for better seedings, it starts with you have to win your home games. Mm-hmm. Well, to win your home games, not only do you got to play well, but you need a home court advantage. We need a crowd.
Yes.
We need students. Now, the students are not back in school yet, so those that are here, we hope we can get them there and fill them in. Otherwise, we need the general public to come help us out. This is your chance to come see a high-level college basketball game, and I can't stress how important our home court advantage is.
Coach, we have to go to a break real quick. Don't worry, I'll be there, and I got a lot of kids. I got 3 kids, Coach, so I'll be there. We'll be making a lot of noise.
Right.
Coach, you guys just beat UT Arlington 79-62. Was that bittersweet? Was that hard for you to sit and watch?
Nah.
Coach.
He played at UT, man. That's where his roots are.
He's okay with it.
Yeah.
Once you're a competitor, man, it's just get the win and get out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, thanks, Coach. Corey, any parting shots?
No, I just want to say thank you, Coach. Thank you for taking the time out, and can't wait to see you on the court on Saturday.
All right. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks
Take
again,
care.
Coach.
Yeah.
You're listening to KZI